Research studies indicate that the framing of ideas, suggestions, can foster collaboration, while proposals may imply authority. This significantly affects reception in business contexts. What does this mean for you? So today we're going to explore just this topic, and we're going to go into detail, and we're going to show you when to use offer, or when to suggest, and when to propose. Welcome to Business English Success Strategies, a part of Mastering English Communication. This lesson explores the nuanced differences between the terms offer, suggest, and propose. This emphasizes how each word influences communication outcomes and negotiations. Right? And you may also want to see my videos on negotiation as well. I have actually some additional work that I've done that is available to you. So the key topics for today include the definitions of offers, proposals, suggests, or suggestions, and contextual language or contextual usage in language, and the implications of word choice on communication dynamics. So this is going to be very important, not only for normal communication in an office or between you and a client, but extremely important when you reach the level of negotiating with a client. Okay, so understanding communication dynamics, and I use this title on purpose because it's not just about the three words, it's about understanding the dynamics of them, because there's obviously much more vocabulary in the English language that relates to this. So it's the dynamics of communication that are going to be critical. So here we're going to look at the emotional tones and nuances associated with the words offer, suggest, and propose. Right? And we're going to highlight their impact on effective communication. Now, the emotional implications of offer or suggestion and proposal vary, and it affects how messages are perceived in communication. Remember, communication is not just about you speaking to someone else. It's about them interpreting and understanding the message in a particular way, and then responding to you. You're going back and forth. We're also going to look at choosing the right word in daily interactions. This is going to be vital for setting the appropriate conversational tone, as well as enhancing communication effectiveness. And then there's, of course, recognizing the subtle differences among offer, suggest, and propose. This will be the key to improving communication and ensuring the clarity in messaging. So we have a cheat sheet, my icon lists, and this highlights the emotional tones associated with the term offer, suggest, and propose, underlining their importance in communication. So each item emphasizes how the choice of words can shape interactions. The collaborative approach encourages dialogue. Generosity in offers builds rapport. And authority in proposals signals leadership. And we'll be talking more about this. But this is a good place for you to start to understand, how have you been communicating? Where might you want to change it, and how can you improve overall? Because understanding these nuances will enhance communication strategies, and it will lead to more productive exchanges and better outcomes, both personally and professionally. So let's look at communication skills. No secret here. Effective communication skills involve understanding when to offer, in the context of our lesson, when to suggest, and when to propose, as each word significantly influences the tone and reception of a message. Offer is often perceived as helpful. Suggest promotes collaboration, while propose carries a more authoritative connotation, which can affect decision-making dynamics in business settings. And research shows that framing ideas as suggestions can enhance teamwork and receptiveness. While proposals may lead to resistance, choosing the right term can improve interaction outcomes and reduce misunderstandings. So something I want to just mention here, even though the audience generally for my lessons are non-native English speaking professionals, and people looking to improve their business English, as well as some ESL students. What I'm speaking about here now is a lesson for any business professional, because sometimes you will even find native English speaking professionals who are confusing the use of these words and terms. So it's key that you understand them so that you can use them correctly. So word choice nuances, right? So the differences between offer, suggest, and propose are subtle, but essential for effective communication in business interactions. As I said before, or suggested before, I just wanted to use the word for a moment, using suggest often indicates a collaborative approach, whereas propose tends to imply a more authoritative stance. Now, there was a study that found when solutions are suggested rather than proposed, the recipient feels more involved and engaged in the process. So if that's the outcome you want, this is the type of word you would want to use. You would want to use suggest, or you will want to be in the active, the communication role of suggesting. Now, in negotiations, the choice of words can affect agreement rates using collaborative language, and this can lead to better outcomes. And as I mentioned before, I do have additional material on negotiation in terms of lessons that you can dive deeper into the topic of negotiations. So let's look at defining offers and proposals. Obviously, this section will focus on defining these terms and highlighting their distinct meanings and implications in communication. So let's take a little closer look at offer, right? So an offer, right off the bat, is going to involve providing, or the suggestion of providing value to someone with the expectation that they are going to reciprocate or give something to you of value. This is a relationship builder and builds trust. Suggestion will serve as a recommendation or advice given informally to guide decisions without pressure. Very important. And then propose, or a proposal, is a formal suggestion. Let me repeat that. A proposal is a formal suggestion that carries a sense of commitment and seriousness, often binding in nature. So an offer provides something of value, establishing trust and fostering relationships, essential in both personal and professional contexts. The distinction between these terms is critical. Offers are about value exchange, suggestions foster collaboration, and proposals assert authority, each impacting how messages are received. Further research indicates that suggesting solutions can enhance perceived collaboration, while proposing can lead to perceptions of dominance. For example, in negotiations, offers can lead to better outcomes when combined with effective communication. So critical in understanding the nuances of these types of words and these words in particular in negotiations. A suggestion is often informal and collaborative, aimed at providing guidance without obligation, while a proposal is formal and authoritative, typically requiring commitment or action. So there have been studies that show that suggestions are perceived as more collaborative, potentially leading to better teamwork outcomes. For example, in negotiations, suggesting options can invite dialogue, whereas proposing terms may close off discussion. So clearly, the choice of words in business interactions will significantly affect perceptions and outcomes. This, of course, impacts whether a conversation feels collaborative or authoritative. Proposing involves a formal and often binding suggestion, signifying a commitment that can lead to potential agreements, while suggesting offers a more flexible, shall we say, and collaborative tone. Additional research indicates that people perceive suggestions as more collaborative and obviously proposals as more authoritative. Now, this distinction can influence decision making, right? Very critical. This distinction can influence decision making and relationship dynamics in professional settings. So, this is why you want to know not only what you're saying in terms of the technical aspects of it, but understand the importance of how you say it. Now let's look at context and usage in language. So the appropriateness of using propose in formal settings versus suggest in informal scenarios, right? We're going to discuss this to illustrate their contextual relevance. Non-English speaking professionals, right? What you want to do is clarify the distinctions between offer, suggest, and propose. You want to get really clear on that because remember, as I said, sometimes you will come in contact with English-speaking business people, sometimes, that are using these words interchangeably because they themselves do not understand. But real seasoned business people, whether they are vendors or clients, they will understand the messaging of these words, right? So this will help you avoid miscommunication. And then we're going to talk for the benefit of business English improvement, the outlining of how making an offer fosters relationship building in business. So first up, contextual usage. Right? So as I said before, deciding between offer, suggest, and propose significantly impacts communication effectiveness and relationships, personally and professionally. So in professional settings, using propose often signals authority and clear intentions. Yeah. So there's a time and a place where you want to propose. Clearly, nothing is not, it's not good or bad, it's the use. While suggest tends to create a more inclusive atmosphere, encouraging dialogue and cooperation. Once again, there's a time and a place where you may want to suggest. Now, further research shows us that framing ideas through suggestions rather than proposals leads to better collaboration outcomes. So remember that if collaboration is what you want, because collaborative language is often perceived as more approachable and less confrontational. But sometimes you're not looking for collaboration. You're looking, or you have put yourself in a leadership mode or leadership position to move forward with business activities. So let's take a quick look at non-English speaking professionals. All right. So an offer typically implies giving something of value in exchange for something else. Right? A suggestion is informal, allowing for recommendations without pressure. And as I said before, useful in collaborative environments. Proposals carry a formal tone. So this is why I have this particular slide here. I want you to take this and use this as this is another cheat sheet. Take this and use this as a reference and until you get to the point where you're comfortable and you no longer need it. So in business, we mentioned that offer typically denotes value, etc., and propose is a structured formal commitment. And when you're suggesting it, you're implying collaborative, right? So, but this is a little bit different. Now we're not talking about clients, but research shows us that using suggest can enhance collaboration in teams by inviting input, while propose may be perceived as a directive. So this is not between clients and vendors. Now this is internal. And you're talking to a team of your peers or people that report to you, or people that you report to. It's internal. So suggesting a solution, for example, can encourage discussion, whereas proposing may close off dialogue and discussion. Now let's look at exploring outcomes and scenarios. So here we're going to focus on various outcomes and scenarios stemming from different communication styles associated with these three words. And we're going to have a slide that will focus on the potential responses to the three words. And then, of course, how to choose amongst the three words. And then we will touch on, once again, framing ideas. So this is actually an interesting little chart, beneficial, I believe, in that these are outcome scenarios. But this shows the timeline of different types of communication choices. In the 19th century, you had the rise of formal business language. We haven't always had since the caveman days, we have not had formal business language. But there was the rise of formal business language in the 19th century, where the terms offer, suggest, and propose began to take on distinct meanings. So it's not that long ago, actually, but this is when they began to take on distinct meanings in professional settings. Fast forward to the 1950s, the emphasis on collaborative communication marked a significant shift in how businesses engage with clients and partners, fostering a culture of suggestion over imposition. Right, so business cultures started to change. Then going to the 1980s, the shift towards persuasive strategies highlighted the importance of proposals in negotiations as businesses aim to assert authority while still maintaining a collaborative environment. And then we get to the 2000s, the increased focus on negotiation techniques reflected the nuanced understanding of communication, where the choice between offering, suggesting, and proposing directly influence the outcomes of business interactions. So this timeline illustrates this evolving significance of language in business, and it just sort of highlights how subtle differences in word choice can lead to varying perceptions and outcomes in communication and how it has over time. Choosing the right word. So clearly, the right word or term can alter perceptions and will impact the outcome of discussions. So consider the context to choose appropriately. Just in the quick cheat on this is offer for value, suggest for collaboration, propose for authority. And I said we were going to touch on framing ideas. Framing ideas correctly can influence perceptions in business communications, highlighting the importance of word choice. The terms offer, suggest, and propose carry different connotations, with suggest being more collaborative and propose more authoritative, as I've mentioned previously in this lesson. Once again, there's research on the topic, and it shows that a collaborative approach fosters better teamwork and innovation. So this is important. Not only is the team working better together, but you will experience, in many cases, more innovation. For example, companies that encourage open suggestions often see as much as a 25% increase in employee engagement and satisfaction. So we're going to conclude with this section, language learning perspectives. And we're going to explore the importance of language nuances in communication, uh, highlighting how understanding subtle differences can enhance clarity and effectiveness in conveying ideas. Right? We're going to look at the significance of grasping subtle differences in language to improve communication and prevent miscommunication for ESL learners. And then we're going to look at a discussion or touch on the topic as we conclude of how suggestions foster creativity and collaboration, proving to be vital in various contexts, both formal and informal. So effective communication is pivotal in both personal and professional settings. Understanding the differences between the three words offer, suggest, and propose can, in many cases will, change how messages are perceived. Understanding subtle differences, right, will allow you to choose the words and then significantly, via those words or terms, significantly impact the outcome of conversations. Once again, remember, offer implies a value exchange, suggest denotes a recommendation without pressure, and propose indicates a formal commitment. Using suggest can foster that collaboration you might be looking for, while propose may convey the authority you're trying to demonstrate. And for example, in negotiations, framing ideas as proposals can be very useful in creating a sense of seriousness. So when you use suggest, this promotes a collaborative atmosphere, obviously, as I've said this before, and it invites input, whereas propose is the opposite. It's an authoritative, in this context, it's an authoritative word. And research shows us that the language framing impacts perceptions, right? And suggesting a solution was found to enhance teamwork, while proposals can lead to resistance. So let me repeat that. Suggesting a solution was found to enhance teamwork, while proposals can lead to resistance if perceived as imposition. So this is why you want to be very careful with the words. They carry consequences. So it's crucial to tailor language to context for optimal communication. Well, everyone, before you go, certainly thank you for your time, but don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You certainly want to get notified of new content, especially if you're finding this content useful, and leave a comment. It helps us help you. See you next time as we continue our linguistic adventure together. Take care.